the din is that, we're speaking about the din of muktzah, you're not allowed to handle items that are muktzah. There is a misconception on the part of some people that if an item is very light, it's not muktzah. What is a small rock? Or what is wrong with holding a tool, a screwdriver? It's nothing. Of course, these are muktzah machmas isur. It's made for malacha, that's asur and Shabbos. But the chiddush is that those things are not asur because of isur. Those things are permissible. For example, a table that you have to use, a table that is very heavy oak, extremely heavyweight. It takes 3 or 4 weeks to lift it. It's permissible to handle, to move on Shabbos. If you need room for a kiddush in your home, and you have a heavyweight grand piano there, you're allowed to move this heavyweight grand piano to make room for the table. So we see that muktzah does not mean moving something which is heavy, it means only that which is forbidden is also, that which is permissible is allowed. We take time out now for a moment to answer this separate topic. We are fortunate today to have it with us, the illustrious family of the Hegel family, your side of Rav Rabbi Meir, the friend of Racha, whose son is conducted the gathering today, covered this yahrzeit, and of course the Zohar Kodesh says that we have no conception, no idea how valuable the tefillos of the niftorim are. Those that passed away in Eden, their tefillos for us are so precious that in one tefillah they can accomplish more than we could in a whole lifetime, or at least in a year's time. And when something is done here on their behalf, it arouses them there to daven for us. So when a son does something that coming for his father in Eden, the father is brought out in a Shemayim, in a Yeshiva Shamala, and there shown what the son has done. The father in turn is Melech Yeshua God. Hope that father, your side is, you have, your side of course, he himself has an aliyah. I'd love to an advancement to a new level in David. The Neshama should have an aliyah. At the same time, the family, the Hegel family should have a Yeshua together with the entire Klal Yisrael through their tefillos. And of course, we must add the reason that the Niftar davens such kavana for the sake of the family is because the suchus that the Niftar himself receives is even greater. It's greater than tzadik is in Yedin. He is helpless as far as doing mitzvahs. He cannot put on tefillin, he cannot put on tzitzis, he cannot eat matzahs on Pesach, there's no mystical form. He is in dire need, in desperate need of help, and below, every mitzvah that a son does is credited to the father. Therefore, the appreciation is tremendous on the part of the Neshama, and that's why the tefillah is that much stronger, that much more intensified on the behalf of the family. This family should be blessed by all children. The Smutza of this great website, the entire part of the cell should have a Yeshua, should have a Kohen, we should see the should have been first one in the mouth of that. Hilchei Shabbos, Dinei Muktzah. As we said, the din is that the Muktzah is something which is forbidden to him, regardless. An article of furniture, very large, said, for example, a piano. That's muktzah, of course, that's in the way, it's which should be used. But it could be used because it could be moved when you need the space for it. That's with most muktzah items. You need the space, you can move it away. So let's say a very large table, which itself is being used, there's not a question of moving it away. There's a question of the use itself is permissible to move the handle. You have a very large table, even on this table it's the candles burning. Though the cloud is a process of the Aharon, we'll get to that later on. In this case, the moving table because there are items that are not muktzah either. But the point is that it's not the size or the amount of work involved, difficulty or weight, it's the item which is muktzah, not the size or weight of it. Now, the din of muktzah too, we said, note that we keep on saying you can only handle muktzah, you cannot move it. It is that there are certain cases where certain ways you're allowed to move muktzah. For example, it has to be very lightweight, but muktzah you're allowed to blow it. By blowing it, there is no din, no isur muktzah. Or, if it's on the floor, you're allowed to move it with your foot. Muktzah, handling, moving is only with your hand. Hayad, which means beyond the use of the hand, which could be the elbow. Move it, shove it with your elbow to the table, move it over. There's money on the table. Move it over with your elbow. Or it's on the floor, push it with your foot. That is permissible. Of course, if necessary, you can't just let it. If necessary to move it, you're allowed to. In addition, the Chiddush, the Chaber, and the Mo both say, with the same words, that the Isser of Muktzah is only moving, kept on the same, moving, handling, not touching. Some people have the impression, mistaken impression, that Muktzah means you're not allowed to touch this on Shabbos. You're not allowed to touch money on Shabbos. You're not allowed to touch your car on Shabbos. It is that you are allowed to touch Muktzah. You're not allowed to move it. Tiltul of Muktzah is awesome. Moving it is awesome. There's one type of Muktzah that is forbidden to touch, and that is something which by touch could be moved. A hanging chandelier, for instance, you touch it lightly, it can be moved. Or something which doesn't balance well. An egg, for instance. An egg that is Muktzah, that's an egg that was laid today, laid on Shabbos, which is Muktzah, and an egg cannot be touched because if you move it, it will roll. If you touch it, that is, it will roll. Therefore, these items, which are very delicately balanced, just by touching alone, might be moved, not necessarily might be moved. They are also to actually touch also on Shabbos. Otherwise, if they is a stable base, then you are allowed to touch Muktzah. Allowed to touch a car. Allowed to touch anything which is item which is completely Muktzah. Let's say a pen, for instance, could roll. A flat item Muktzah could be touched. There are certain items that should not be touched at all. So an animal, for instance, Muktzah should be touched, except in certain cases of Aharon, or a tree. A tree, too, should not be touched. Could be touched, of course, but then you have to be careful. You learn enough to know you're not supposed to leave the tree on Shabbos. You'll do it later on, too. But basically, again, we point out that Muktzah means not handling, moving, touching. Zechet, Kaddish souls, Erekas, Halacha, the seed, the evidence. These are all our enemies, Syrian Jewish. Arizal says this to be blood Shabbat Iyar is a very special, blessed blood. Seed, and Apollo, downfall of Syrian Jewish. Iyar is famous, Eva, Yerushalmi, Yerushalmi, Roga. Enemy of the Jews, shame and disgrace, is the Tikuney state to be destroyed. Okay, Shabbos Dinim on Muktzah. We said there are most items that are used for anything that's usher, but not used for Shabbos, are usher to touch, to handle that is. When we say touch, of course, we explain thoroughly, we're allowed to touch Muktzah, unless it is something that is so delicately balanced that it could move by its touch. You're not allowed to move anything Muktzah. It's called tiltul. Can't be metal for anything Muktzah. Anything which is used for Easter or the 6 kinds of Muktzah we explained. Now, an item which is used for Heter, which means it's used on Shabbos, like food utensils or food, dishes, pots and pans, that have food in them, silverware, that you're allowed to handle even though it's not for the sake of the item itself. For example, you have a set of silverware which could be used on the table, but you don't want to use it right now. You want to move it to a different spot, to a place where it's more secure, say, save it from being stolen if possible. You're allowed to handle that, to move it on Shabbos. But if, let's say, there's no reason whatsoever to use it, to handle it, then just stomp to hold it, move it around, that is better not to. However, food, certainly you can even more use on Shabbos. Food itself, you're allowed to handle in general, or those items that are always on the table. Certain type of cutlery, silverware, not dishes or pots, but silverware for the table. You're allowed to handle it, just hold it, you play with it while you're sitting at the table, you're talking, you're having a discussion with the at the table. You're allowed to handle, say, a spoon, just as a means of nervous reaction, a reflex action. A spoon is not considered muktzah, although it's not being used at all for food at the time. Or food, hold food in your hand, though you have no intention of eating. This is the din in Shulchan Aruch. There are some who say, that if the item is not being used at all, absolutely no reason to have to hold it. Even though it's food, it's a non-muktzah item, still it should not be handled on Shabbos. Not being held for any reason at all, for the sake of Shabbos or for the sake of its use or anything at all, it should not be handled in vain. Because still, at that second, it's an opinion of muktzah. This is one day, and the din is not that strict. Although it says it's advisable or possible to hold it. This brings back a memory to me, past, when I attended the Mesivta Torah Das, the first winter Torah Das that was given to the Mesivta the day after my bar mitzvah. That time Mesivta Torah Das was a very high citadel of learning. It was a Mesivta to the Kia, it was called. A heavenly yeshiva, because the level of learning was very, very high and very strict. What made it strict? Strict means, in every respect, you'd call it tzadik alumni. A person couldn't get into the Secretary Das unless he was tested for his religion. He couldn't just walk in there without being strictly religious, and also without having a solid background of learning, regular yeshiva. The reason was that the head of the yeshiva, the Reish Yeshiva, was Rav Shraget Midwitz. He was so held so much in awe, fear and awe by the Talmudim, the best Talmudim, that if he ever looked at a person with his piercing eyes, piercing look, and the person just melted in fear, he would say that he turned into a pile of bones at the spot. Such a powerful look that he had. And this look was the look of the tzadik. Because just by his word look, it would make the person feel a sense of humbleness and a sense of Yiras Hashem, Yiras Shemayim, look at the tzaddik. Perhaps it's because I was that young at the time. I felt such awe, but it wasn't myself. The whole yeshiva felt the same way. Of course, there was the simple fear. Any person, it's not really an exaggeration to say he would gladly have gone into the fire. Not gladly, but before going into a fire, rather than to be called into the office by the Rosh Yeshiva. Because there was too much the office. When a person is called the office, that meant the door was sealed, like being sentenced to fires of Gehenna, which are much worse than fires on earth. But anything but that. His strictness was such, very strict, but at the same time, he showed an ahava to the Talmudim. And very rarely, happened twice, I recall a nice day, running at the Sifta, that he came into a class and took over the share. This wasn't today's part of the yeshiva. It's not just regular classes. Of course, the regular classes then, all back then, were higher than today's Medrash classes, prevalence. Thus, the learning then was at a tremendously stricter and higher level. Now, I do recall, plus the outstanding part, most probably, is the fact that in later years, just before I left the Sifta, I discovered the fact that he was first hiddenly and then openly, a very intense Breslov Chassid. This was so rare, it was so shocking, as there were no Breslov Chassid in America at the time. To find one, discover one, plus the time when my father started to work on rounding up Breslov Chassidim and spreading it in America, this was already after the Stalkers, after the big lowest Stalik. So otherwise, imagine it would have been a very strong force developing Breslov Chassidus in America. And I recall this statement the son-in-law who today is Shiva in Yerushalmi, who once said that stated this as a Akita, Charlotte, if he would be lost, stranded on a desert island, have to be sent to a desert island, a life, what svarim would he take along? He had a choice of 3 svarim. Without hesitation, he said, what are the 3 svarim that could be answers? It's the combination of the Kutman and the Kutman Halachas, very down Muslim. This he could live. Could be answered. So, I recall though this point. This remains indelibly impressed in my mind. One day he came into my class. This was the 2nd year I was there. 2nd year means I was there for half year to read the next class. This was the 3rd year of the Secretary Das, which is going today to about the 43rd year. He came in and he sat down and said he was a Moshe Shir in Halacha. Halacha was Hilchos Shabbos, Hilchos Muktzah. He spoke with such intensity, with such feeling, deep feeling, and such Yiddish Shemayim, that what I felt myself and everyone else became filled with a powerful inner Tshuva. One at that age, there weren't no sins committed, but less sins, the greater the tzadik, the more he feels the few sins that he does. Why we should feel our worst sin as badly hurt us as much as the slightest begun hurts a tzaddikim. The feeling of tshuva that overcame us, very warmth and heat. Our hearts were aroused with the desire, craving to get back closer to Hashem and tshuva. When he spoke about the kedusha of Shabbos, he especially stressed kedusha of Shabbos is such that to fulfill the mitzvah of Shabbos regularly is one thing, but to take upon oneself a higher degree of kedusha, since the Shabbos is the Shabbos queen, show a respect for the Shabbos queen. He specifically said, take this case for example. Take the case of muktzah of food or silverware on the table, differently one who has this deep, innate respect for Shabbos is one who will not handle the silverware that's on the table. This is the halacha expressed that. It remained with me from childhood on, even at this point, that this is a symbol of one's respect for Shabbos Kodesh. Symbol of one's degree of showing the Yiddish Shemayim, Yiddish homage for Shabbos Kodesh Hashem. Again, I say that halacha l'maisa, if you're asked, you can never state this as an issue. It's not also to handle food or silverware on Shabbos, even though it's not needed. Because it is not considered what's all be good. However, I said there are posek who said the Aharon says that too. Chavruta holds to advise us so. You can't ask me to advise it. That is, if possible, it's better for a person to be purer, to be a higher tzadik kedusha, by not handling this muktzah. I got, by the way, off topic, but today there is a very high yeshiva or kollel in Monsey called Yeshiva's Beis Shraga. That's the yeshiva named after Menachem Mendel Schneerson. The Rosh Yeshiva is the brother-in-law of Bible Shulchan. Heads the yeshiva, big going in his own right. He's considered one of the best, if not the best, Talmud Bavly Arizal. He is the Rosh Yeshiva in that circle today. In fact, for that reason, I Segda. Rabbi one, Segda. The name of the yeshiva I once sent my son really to learn there for a while. Did very well, Baruch Hashem, before he went to it. So that's it's good to mention the names of tzaddik in the past. Nosson, Aharon, which brings up to learn it. Otherwise, the last of the time, learn these things, they to fulfill it. We should be able to begin. But I can bring back that feeling of old. How they should be kept the feeling of old, of warmth, desire to do tshuva, desire to do mitzvahs, either shmayim, and mitach ava. So the two avas Hashem, avas HaTorah, if they Hashem be emes, carry this on with us, we see the coming of Mashiach, as a nation, together with all the great tzaddikim, if they Hashem and Netzach. If they Shabbos, Didei Muktzah, it is said that anything which is not usable on Shabbos is considered muktzah. If it is a keli that is used on Shabbos, tashmish is the use is for the sake of Shabbos, then it is muktzah. So what happens if a keli breaks? Keli breaks, falls to the floor and breaks. It's made of a present day non-breakable solid stainless 31 gauge aluminum steel and so forth, and it drops lightly and it cracks in half. Then, if the keli now, instead of having one big dish, you now have two small dishes, it's going to be used as a dish for any purpose, it does not become muktzah. If it is broken into small pieces, if the shatterproof keli breaks into tiny pieces, then it is considered muktzah. The entire thing is muktzah. Now, the problem is, of course, since it has become muktzah, how do you sweeten it up? The answer is you don't. You can't. If it's muktzah, you cannot sweeten it up. But if it is made of glass, or there are small children in the house who like to eat the stuff, that is dangerous, then you're allowed to sweep up this muktzah and put it aside where it's in a safe place. This is the halacha. However, despite this halacha, the additional point is very important to know. That is not too much publicized. Try to keep this a secret. That is, it says, maybe Galia and Snowy. When you reveal this only to upper elite high class, good tzaddikim, or homicide tzaddikim, the fact that this muktzah, which cannot be swept up for a number of reasons, if it is pushed aside with a foot, it is permissible. You brush this out, you can't take it with your hands and pick it up, collect it, put it aside, but with your foot you are allowed to, I see cases where it broke and they left behind it. They were helpless. The fact is you're allowed to push it aside. Before he goes to do this, achayad. Achayad means behind the hand, which comes the foot. Four front is the hand, and behind that is the foot. Achayad, you're allowed to clean it up with the feet. This is permissible, even though it is definitely muktzah and unusable. Zecher to retire, we kaddish ourselves, all ha'evonim, all ha'gidim, make ourselves become a unique sefer Torah, and zecher that we will show you later, leave me away. Shabbos, didei muktzah. Anything which is unusable on Shabbos is considered muktzah. Therefore, the shabbos with food. Is there a food that's considered muktzah? And it is that meat which cannot be eaten is muktzah. For example, raw meat. The shabbos would deal with raw meat if it would be posek. Now, raw meat cannot be eaten, but on the other hand, it is edible because there are some people who enjoy raw meat, who like meat either very rare or even that kind of meat, non-raw meat. So we have enough like on this, since it is edible, raw meat by many people, therefore it should not be considered muktzah. According to the Magen Avraham, he says that this case of raw meat being edible, that's only by chicken, by fowl, but not animal meat. Nobody, he says, would eat a piece of steak raw. Last night's wedding, he was saying that there are people who eat real rare, raw But the Taz says that animals need beef steak, especially prime rib steak, rare. That there are people who would eat it, normal people who would eat that raw too. And with this, the Eliyahu Rabbah and the Arizal concur. They agree that this is edible. Therefore, they say, the Taz say, that this raw meat is not considered muktzah because it is edible on Shabbos. The Shulchan says that B'shas at Chat, so we consider this meat edible and you're allowed to handle it on Shabbos. Of course, we point out, Agav, by the way, a second halacha. Well, how do you call this edible? Raw meat is meat that was, because nowadays all raw meat bought from a butcher is already salted. There's no problem with kashrus. But previously, the old days, it was way back to about 20 years ago, when there was no such thing as butcher salting meat. This was done by every housewife, each private home for their own salting. So naturally, when we speak about raw meat, we're talking about meat that was not salted yet. You are not allowed to salt meat on Shabbos. So how could you say this meat is edible? The answer is that meat, raw meat, with the blood in it, is kosher. The blood of raw meat is kosher if that blood is eaten together with the meat. But once that blood is extracted from the meat, then the blood becomes treif. Therefore, if you take raw meat, do not salt it, put it into a pot and cook it, what happens then? The meat comes out of the blood comes out of the meat. In the process of cooking, it is then reabsorbed by the meat. Once the blood has been extracted, it became treif. Then reabsorbed makes the meat treif, and therefore you cannot cook meat without salting it first. But if it is raw, and the blood does not come out from the meat, as it does by cooking, when you eat that meat and blood together, when you eat it, it is very tasty and kosher. For those, of course, who have that cannibalistic instinct, they eat raw meat. But it is kosher as far as that is concerned. And therefore, hence, we said, according to most posek, raw meat, if necessary, is an item that could be handled until on Shabbos Kodesh. Which means to the true Zahidus, and Mitzvah Shabbos Kodesh, was always the Torah, and that's supposed to see the Bias Karatzim Meheda. Okay, Shabbos, Dini Muktzah. Anything which is alive, chai, animals, birds, fish, all Muktzah on Shabbos. It cannot be handled on Shabbos, as we mentioned before, strongest terms possible. We cannot see how a person can really own a dog on Shabbos to avoid handling it. Dog is not that developed mentally that it can take care of itself for a full 24 hours if it's a domesticated animal. So he did says that if a person has chicken farm on Shabbos, the chickens leap. They hop. These chickens hop along. They come to a set of expensive chinaware. They start hopping over this chinaware. Wouldn't be so bad. As far as the husband's concerned, he doesn't mind, he doesn't care anyhow. If the chicken does any harm to it, the rest of the set will be broken on him by his wife. So, in order to at least keep peace in the home, he's got to get rid of these chickens, or chicken. Then he cannot touch the chickens. He cannot lift them, carry them away. He can only drive them away without touching them, and frighten them. Flap his arms, pretend he's a bigger chicken, and frighten them away without touching these chickens. However, in case a chicken, a small animal, newborn animal, has to walk, and requires help in walking to lift its foot one at a time, there it is permissible to help lift it. Of course, only because there is a case of Tzar Balechayim. Tzar Balechayim, pity on an animal, pity on a dumb animal, It's what's missile there to touch, to help it, but only because of the fact that there is Sarah Chaim. Secondly, of course, this is not considered carry, because as you lift one foot, the other foot is down on the floor, you're not really lifting you off the ground completely. Therefore, it says that there must be a lot of stress put on this thing, this halacha, to publicize it as much as possible, because the general public is very erroneous, commits a very sad error in reference to this din. They're not aware of this din. So the general public doesn't know about it, they must be notified of it. This has been written from all the Shulchan all the din, everywhere, but to this day, the general public knows nothing about this din, is still making the same mistake. Somehow, when it says in Shulchan people make a mistake about this, that remains the other word. I will tell you why. Because, say, it's a mazel for everything. Some didn't have a mazel too, and people make a mistake with it. When you carry a child, people are in the impression that they have this Edeltain, a very big lump. They learn the statement in the Zohar, which says, Achai Neisei Zatzmai. It says that a living being lifts itself, carries itself. So they're under the impression this means that if you carry somebody, you're not carrying, he's carrying himself. The proof is that dead weight is much heavier. A person who is dead weighs much more than a person who is alive. A person who is alive is much lighter. Why is a live person lighter than a dead person? Because the alive person carries himself. In a sense, he lifts himself. So you ought to really carry a person because he's carrying himself. Why doesn't he float on air? Again, it means to a certain degree. This is, again, only in the Arizal we say that, but I tell you there's no Isa carry a person. And that there definitely is an Isa. This is the Elam Tay. They think that Chaynesis, that's what he means, that he's completely free. But he's not. He's still considered committing an Isa to Abonim. In fact, the same as the Isa to Abonim is for any kind of Malacha. Malacha which could be done by one person. And two people do this Malacha, they are both Pater Midaraisa and Chayav to Abonim. Here, this act could be done by one person. And two people take part in the work. First, one person can carry the other one. The second person is helping him to carry, so they're both doing the work of one, and therefore it is also however, it is also this will be a so it's important to publicize the fact that people think they can carry on Shabbos, they can carry a child on Shabbos, a very grievous error. It should be rectified. It should be zecher to be chai reisias atzmai. We should elevate ourselves, chai, acting like a chai to medaber, elevate ourselves to atzmai, to come closer to Hashem. True Avodas Hashem, everybody is zecher to see. Yes, girl, sorry. Hilchos Shabbos, Hilchos Chinuch Kotten. We are deviating slightly today because of the occasion. One of the B'nis speak about raising children properly. Since this is the first son born to stand, you have to know how to raise a child. The Zayin Kodesh says if you give the child a proper chinuch, come to Yaskin, and at his older age, something will remain. You got to give him a solid feeding of das, religion, and mitzvahs, of ahavas hatayra, ahavas shemayim, because generally, throughout the years, it wears off. You give him a lot when he's young, there is something remaining later on. So the Kodesh also teaches Hanar, which means that teach a child from his very inception a union of chesed and din combined. Din means that ish becheta yumas. A person commits a sin, he must pay for it very heavily. A child should be given the proper upbringing. If necessary, then the shevet also, which means to give a child corporal punishment is permissible according to the Torah. With a light strap, but he's got to be shown the light. However, if he does do wrong, teach him also that there is the inyan of tshuva. The couple din with chesed. Here's the case of tshuva. The tshuva should be done the dafka when a person is very young. May seva tokum. Before you become old, tokum, rise up and do tshuva. Then you'll beautify your old age. You'll have an old age which will not be ashamed of its own youth. The din of chinuch is to that though the Gemara says that the bezdin is not mitzvah, if it sees a child committing a wrong, it's not mitzvah to stop the child, eating an item of which is a shayla, kashrus, and so on. But it is a chiyuv on the father, on the parent, to see that the child, no matter what age it is, no matter what age, even if the child does not understand, there's no das in the child, not to feed that child the yadayim anything coming, because it will give a wrong type of blood, a wrong type of midas will be injected into the child. So it is a chiyuv upon the father and mother to see that the child is given an upbringing of kashrus from the day of birth, and especially on Shabbos. Especially on Shabbos, this is an item which the Olam is tayin. People err very seriously, very tragically about this, and thinking that a boy under 13 is allowed to carry on Shabbos outside, allowed to do malachos, chas v'shalom. It is definitely forbidden for a parent to suggest that a child do it. It is even incumbent upon a parent to stop a child who is doing wrong on Shabbos, even if that is an Issa D'Rabbanan. This way, with that kind of a chinuch, the child will be imbued with both a techeretz, a yidah, an ahava for Hashem, for the Torah, and for the parents, throughout the life of the parents. The Aviyah Ben, the mother, and the grandparents, relatives should be zecha to see a lot of nachas in this child. Zecha the gadlei, the Torah, we should be zecha to see Koreb, Yemenu. Yigur b'shleim v'meira, amen. Shabbos Minimuktzah. She took to a very favorite topic today. Everyone is wild about this. Ball playing. Shabbos thought about playing ball on Shabbos Kodesh. First, we have to understand there are three questions involved. One is the question of Arizal, that is playing outside in the street. That nobody disputes the fact that is posek. Because carrying anything 4 steps, 4 amis in the street is asur, or throwing anything 4 steps, 4 amis. So in the street, of course, there's no question about it whatsoever. Next question is the shayla of throwing a ball that strikes the ground. It could make a dent, which means it's the same as the act of digging. It throws something in the ground, makes a dent, and starts digging. Of course, when you walk on the ground, too, it can happen. It's understood. The difference between the normal case where the person does something deliberate action, so that there is this question, this problem of Easter digging. Third, simply the question of posek, whether a ball is posek. No, they didn't thought the Yosef says that it's forbidden to play ball on Shabbos, on Yom Tov. Of course, the question of posek. Amor says that it is permissible. So further and further to Rav Nachman, the Taz both forbid playing ball on Shabbos. And Yom Tov, too, was again, the reason it's forbidden, 2 things. One, that it makes a hole, it would cause a hole in the ground. In this case, then, it would be permissible if the ground was made out of cement, with no earth in the ground. You wouldn't have the Zeta, replace the Zeta, what's your Hatushin outside? Because it's cemented, it's Zeta, if we allow that, we might do something wrong or something, show the foot to it. In this case, they say that it's not that serious. Some put it up one. It wouldn't be permissible. The Marshal says very simple. The whole idea of playing ball on Shabbos let's say, inside a house, not outside, around the cemented, might have the heter that one that is not muksa, with all that, Roshal says the idea is abhorrent. It's a disgusting idea because it's what he calls a din ha'girah, an evil custom, playing ball in Shabbos or Yom Tov. What then? The children, it is permissible, even Roshal says. Why? Not that it's advisable, but children are sometimes disobedient. They'll let them play ball, they'll play ball anyhow. So why tell them to have them disobey or do something deliberately? Best thing is don't tell them no, let them play. So at least they're doing it k'shegei, whatever is considered k'shegei. However, we see that the majority of posek are opposed to it, definitely. Especially, surprised that we have to excuse because the Messiah himself says that it's definitely us to play ball on Shabbos and Yom Tov. But at the final analysis, we have the ball playing is not advisable, and we consider it under the chol. A weekday item, not fit for a day of Kedusha, like Shabbos or even Yom Tov. There are some exceptional cases. For Yom Tov, you have children, youth, for them, ball playing would be a pleasure, and if it's in a closed area with solid ground, solid wood planks, basketball, something like that, perhaps it might be permissible for this youth. But surely it's not the yeshiva kind of music. Whether that children should be brought up with the knowledge that Shabbos, Yom Tov, is English, is very holy, it's a different an atmosphere. And these items that walk wearing is a good exercise, and fixed quality weekdays, not for these days that are holy. Which means nothing to knock down some image for Kedusha and Tada, and nothing to see the Yerushalmi. Okay, Shabbos. There is a shadow that comes up Shabbos, especially at the end time, which there's a big mevucha, complicated item, topic which there's a lot of controversy about. It's only because of the fact that people haven't looked into it carefully enough, or person haven't asked the shadow. You have a shadow, you ask it off. So we have a shadow, now let's go ask it off. Let's go back to see what Teshuva says. He was a very reliable rabbi. Teshuva was one of the greatest Aharon out. Because market. The shadow about a watch on Shabbos. 2 or 3 items about the general question of a watch. First place, is it permissible to wear a watch on Shabbos? If an item is a tachshit, which means jewelry, not a beged, then to shed. If it's a beged, if it's a garment, of course anybody can wear it. If it's a tachshit, then it could. For a woman, for example, wristwatch is definitely permissible because women and jewelry are synonymous. They go together. At least more than once they go together with the other. As far as tachshit and jewelry for women, Shabbos it is permissible for women to wear jewelry. But for a man, we went through that shadow a number of times, there is a slight heter for it, very slight heter, but it is not advisable. In the case of a watch, in order to be considered a tachshit, it must be at least solid gold. It must have designs of diamonds or rubies or the numerals and so on. The majority of watches today are not jewelry. They are utility. They are an item that's used as a necessity, but cannot be classified as jewelry. Again, if it was classified as jewelry, still would not be considered mutter for a man, according to the majority of deists. Therefore, the best we could say about a wristwatch is that if you see someone wearing it, you know that there's a question of callous. A person who does not take mitzvahs too seriously. We cannot really recommend him for committing a sin because he could find places that would commit it. Moshe Feinstein says it is permissible to wear a wristwatch on Shabbos, but that's for others, not for my talmidim. Meaning, not for yeshiva. Those who are the yeshiva should definitely avoid at all costs. This is all, of course, speaking about a wristwatch where it might be considered a beggar. Pocket watch actually is also a whole other, no hector whatsoever, pocket watch. Even if as the old days it came with a silver chain attached to it. So, in the final analysis, for a man to wear a wristwatch on Shabbos definitely should not be done. We spoke about that beginning, we spoke about the halachas. The incident I recall when I got in the yeshiva Chayin Balei. As a child, I attended the yeshiva Chayin Balei, 1899 Prospect Place. That place today this looks like the result of a Holocaust. Looks like the result of the bombing of the Syrian withstood different types of assaults. So finally, the black plague came and village destroyed, attacked by the arsonists, and it was razed to the ground. Right now there's an empty lot there, which stands as a very sad monument in memory of the greatest yeshiva in the entire United States at that time. Yeshiva that produced products went further to prove today's Russian yeshivas. In that yeshiva, there was also a shul. We got all the places down for years there. The father showed down there with others. He stood down there, and you could see tight out the fold before your eyes. This is front, it's the front wall next to the Kodesh. Well, it's inhabited by all the elders, this kingdom. Men with long white beards, and they're very fresh from memory because these Yaakov, the child, became indelibly impressed. I recall that there was a visitor, a guest of the shul at some point, came and asked to be allowed to speak, to make an appeal for something. And he got up on that minute to speak, moved his arm, and saw a wristwatch in his arm. And the river went through the elbows, shuddered. Yes. How could this man be allowed to speak in shul on Shabbos? In their eyes, it was a fellowship. They saw the strict that point wide, but he made this day, so I know, nothing we had waste on. And a wristwatch on Shabbos was definitely awesome. That's why we need a wristwatch here for shul. Ways to bring it, well, they wouldn't bring it, but it was not a sign. On our best to avoid worry. Shul, but there are any strangers. But of course we're here, in case you ever entertain any wrong thoughts by some mistake, you know, the watch is brought and it's never worn after Shul Shabbos. That's why. The second question about the mechanism of the watch. By the way, as far as the watch being booked on, the watch itself in the house, for example, is not considered booked on. But a large clock is. Grandfather clock, a large grandfather clock, even though it is not an electric clock, is considered muktzah. Electric clock is definitely muktzah. As long as it's attached, electric clock cannot be moved, cannot be hidden. That's as far as muktzah goes. Electric clock, no, it's a small clock, the same as a pocket watch or wristwatch. In your house, it could be used, it could be hidden. But if it's attached by electricity, it's muktzah. It works on battery and it's not muktzah. Very important to know. It works on battery and it's not considered muktzah. Now, and the second question is whether or not the victim is winding a clock or moving the handles, changing the time. In this case, this is definitely moving the handles or winding the clock. Whether it's not going fully to Yisrael. Pick it with it. Why the clock is not going, it could be, this is nice. Why the clock is going, too, is also in Shabbos. On Shabbos, you're not allowed to wind the clock. If it's going, you're allowed to change the handles of the clock. That is definitely out. The question is now, again, this is where the big difference comes up. Until now, what we said, is practically agreed upon by everyone. Maybe a few exceptions, but sort of agreed. Yenta, we come to the top. There are some who say that Yenta is easier. Second, Tzedach Yenta, Tzedach, Tzedach, R Nosson, so they say in Torah before Yenta, the Shari Teshuva says definitely not so. Yenta, the first day of Yenta, you cannot wind a clock. Shiloh changing the time possibly might be permissible, might be, but it's very inadvisable the first day. Winding a watch or clock on Yenta, the first day is posek. Only on the second day, it's permissible to wind a clock only if it is going. The clock that is stopped, say Easter applies to the second day because of the first day, or to Shabbos. Again, use of a watch, winding a watch is permissible. Winding is permissible only on the second day before the time, with Shabbos or Yom. Of course, this is very important to note, that this excludes the Shashunah. The shooting of the Shashunah is a special thing of its own. The Shashunah, the second day Yom, no different than the first day Yom. It's the same did all details. For example, one of the most necessary items, vital items, different between the first and second day Yom, is the use of medicines, new medication, aspirins, for example, are forbidden to use on Shabbos and on the first day Yom. They are permissible on the second day Yom. Medication, the second day Yom is mutter, is permissible, but not on the second day of Shashunah. Shashunah, the second day is the same thing as the first day as far as medicine is concerned. Again, therefore, the winding of the watch is only on the second day Yom, but not on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. Third item is something that is Baruch Hashem becoming obsolete. It's the self-winding watch. They are producing less and less of it to what it is decontaminated. It's a self-winding watch, the one that is worn on the wrist, and the movement of the hand winds that watch. In this case, there's a shaila. This shaila is the one that is the biggest ripple. Actually spawned today. We write about Menachem Shabbos with the wearing of a self-winding watch. One of the most famous astronomers in the world today, Menachem Shabbos, accepted by all the Rav of Breslov, has this statement in it. It's a very big pity that the statement is there, stating that a self-winding watch is permissible to wear on Shabbos. To me, this very sad error. Very sad error because it is a mistake. This Shema, I was fortunate in speaking to Rav of Arizal, the regular time, and of course with this Shema, delved into the Shema very solid, no question about nothing undone. I've seen, I've read this Shema, the Sefer has touched upon the problem that were involved. Somehow we overlooked, and he had to was given the Sefer by error. And at that time, Rav of Breslov stated very clearly that wherever you watch, must be allowed to carry outside, but you have to use in the house. To wear a watch that is self-winding is a full Shabbos. Of course, it means that by the movement of the hand, you are winding the watch. In fact, all of it is also on Shabbos. Now, why then would anybody say that it's permissible? Because the Shema of any discovery, there's no intentions to do something without intending to do so, then it would be permissible on Shabbos in many cases. However, if it's a signature, you don't intend, like saying you want to take the head off the cow. You don't want to kill a cow on Shabbos. You say my intention is not to kill this cow, just to remove the head. I want the head without killing the cow. Well, you may want, but the fact is it's impossible. Same token, you say, I want to wear the watch without winding it. You may want it, but you cannot wear the watch without winding it because the movement of the hand does wind. My claim is that it's not signature because a person could, for a second, rest his arm and would not be winding. And it's possible to wear without wearing it. It's true that at the same time it's impossible to move. You can move with the watch, walk with the watch without wearing it. Of course, that too, for a moment, is possible. A person can walk with the watch in the definite, on the definite stationary position. But later, when the watch might be possible, but it's a very difficult play on situation. But even if we grant all that, that was not the question. That was not the problem at all. The problem was that as an Easter, where a person can do anything on Shabbos, compared to Sunday. You're not allowed to wash dishes on Shabbos. For the sake of Sunday. For the sake of Mitzvah Shabbos. You wash dishes on Friday night for the sake of Shabbos. Or on Shabbos morning for the sake of eating that same day. Not to prepare anything. Shabbos to make the bed, for instance. Make the need to take the covers off and stuff. Prepare the bed for sleeping. On Shabbos, if you intend to use it for Mitzvah Shabbos. Surely, we cannot wind a watch on Shabbos where it's going to be used on Sunday. In this case, as you move your arm, the watch is wound, not for that very second, because you can take the watch up and it's still going. It's adding a reserve amount to the watch. This reserve amount will come into play a day later. It means that on Shabbos, you are moving the watch, winding it, and on Sunday it will be going. That is called Menachem Mendel Schneerson. And that Rav of Breslov said very emphatically at the time the question was brought up, and it determined very clearly, without face of doubt whatsoever, it is posek tachlis wear a self-winding watch on Shabbos. But Hashem was clarified then, it was very much handy, because since we see that it's a very controversial topic, at least we know, not doubt, what the result is suffix that you don't get holy. The person's burdened with doubts and halacha. It's very good to have a vadai, good to have a posek and a gadol. The Rebbe and the Arizal certainly did not ask the Shabbos often. But those few times that he did, they were very solid. This is one of the few times that he posek clearly, this is the halacha, it wasn't the middle. I don't want to revert to the halacha one iota. Therefore, it definitely is that a self-winding watch on Shabbos is also a habit, absolutely. Anybody who wears it, man, woman, or child, and to wind a watch is definitely also on Shabbos for the first day. To wear a watch outside is admissible for women, because for women it's considered even a regular, ordinary watch. Because it is too cheap to buy a nice one, it's still considered a tachshit as quality jewelry for ornamentation for women, which is permissible, but not permissible, not advisable, at least for men. You see someone wearing it, and you cannot become violent about it, and attack it for, because there are those places who say that it's passable. But surely the Bnei Yeshivas, they say that. Those who are religious should definitely be avoided, because it's definitely a shot of Easter wearing the watch on Shabbos. Above all, even the watch, it must be all said, the watch is a very precious item. You should wear the watch not for the sake of the goyim, but for the sake of a timepiece and time the basketball games, other games. It's not why watches are created. Invented. Hashem sent this watch down for a person to watch the time. And look at this watch, be fascinated, watch how life goes by. Every second that ticks by, life is going by. And account for it. See, the second that passed, what did you do with your life? The person watching that, the secret of Rav Nosson's success, greatness, being able to write so many slaughtered, more slaughtered than the human brain can imagine is possible for one individual to write. Not just writing, so that a copy is slaughtered every year. But these are slaughtered that are invented. It's a Chidush title, but the office says tremendous amount of Chidush title there that are far above and beyond the capacity of a normal goy. It is only possible to convert to the Kutei Malalim to the Kutei Tfilos, and write the life histories of Arizal. I know the other story. And then, in addition to that, to write so many letters, correspondence, hundreds of letters, correspondence with people, to speak to so many people about Yerushalmi. worried about this kindness. And then, like, so much as bitterness, all this word, the Arizal, who lived many lives. It would take a person hundreds of years, and how much would he do? What was the secret of being able to do so? He simply watched the seconds. The way of Moshe, you think that's certainly very possible. If you watch, it is themselves to be able to learn a few dafu Shulchan when there was no time at all. In a period of no time, that's when he learned it. In shul, between one thing and the next thing, if he could just move around, at that time he learned. Those seconds that went lost, he learned the minute that was every day, so many dafu each day. That's because the seconds of the watch more watch carefully. Nothing very particular about having you watch that exact time. In this case, each second of the time was accounted for. As it was written in posek R Avraham Steinhartz, brought by Aharon, Aharon was old. He was old, reached old age. And before Aharon means he came with the old age, but translated means he came by with the days. He came with all his days accounted for. As old as he was, that's how many days they accounted for while he lived. He lived all those days. His effort to live properly. It is our famous saying, this will get life and change life. If a person very young, as today's Yerushalmi day, nice message was shown, very young when he was telling, just past his 20th birthday, and just married, lived a short time, and lived very nicely, beautifully. Just now, directly everything is touched. Came in difficult, more difficult, Yerushalmi spent his time there watching the time and spending his kind of, that's what's good about living well, which means not to live well and find favor in the eyes of Hashem, it's special. So I give us the Arizal, but to see with our eyes so that we ask God to be able to. First Shabbos, then he looks at. A person has a looks item, for example, a wallet, money, which is definitely looks on Shabbos. He has a barrel of wine. Before Shabbos, he placed this wallet on top of a barrel of wine. He wants to use this wine for Shabbos. But in order to move the barrel of wine, he's got to move the wallet with money. He's going to have to move muktzah. So how does he remove the muktzah from this barrel of wine? It is that he can take this barrel of wine and bend it over so that the wallet of money could fall to the floor. Then he can use the wine. By bending, because he's not really going to move the barrel of wine with the muktzah on it. He's just bending it over. That's partial tiltul, partial handling of muktzah. Of course, the muktzah itself he does not touch at all. Bending the barrel of wine over, and the muktzah falls to the floor, and he can use the barrel of wine. If, however, the barrel of wine is situated in a place where you cannot bend it, let's say it's a lot of barrels of wine next to the other, but one of them he forgot to place this wallet of money. Then, only then he's allowed to lift the barrel of wine, and once he has it lifted, once he's moved it out of place, then he's allowed to carry it to wherever he wants, there to bend it over and drop the wallet of money. This is a special deal that where a person is able to move muktzah. Let's say it's in his hand already, he's got to let it go. Once it's in his hand, he's allowed to move with it until he gets to a stop. So if he finds he has muktzah in his hand, then he can move. Speaking, of course, not about carrying it, not speaking about himself, right now about muktzah in the house. As long as he has the muktzah in his hand, he can walk with it, wherever he wants to drop it off from there. Moving with it, going with it, doesn't change. Doesn't matter how far, how much he moves it. Once he has started, the rest is permissible. And this, of course, this whole rule applies only if he needs the wine in the barrel. But if he just wants to get the muktzah itself out of that place, if he wants to have muktzah in a more guarded place, that is usher. The only reason why he's allowed to move that muktzah in a roundabout way directly is because he needs the wine in the barrel. And if he does not need the word of the barrel, or what's in the barrel itself even, you sit down on it, and then it is forbidden to have that muktzah in the go. It's the first step in a series of dinim called Moses the Davar HaOsur. At times, an item which is not muktzah can become a basis for something which is muktzah, and what happens to that bottom item? What happens to that normal item, regular item, non-muktzah item? So far we have already a case where the barrel of wine, which was the Moses, was permissible to be moved. That was only because the muktzah had been forgotten. It was placed on this barrel of wine by inadvertent. He had not intended to put it there. You have the further data on this issue. But Zechar to the Muktzah Shabbos the muktzah. Although with a complicated, complex set of dinim called Moses the Davar HaOsur. Basis, something which is a basis for a muktzah item. Which means if you have a regular item, we will give as a barrel of wine, which is permissible to be used on Shabbos. And on top of that barrel of wine, we have a wallet of money. Money is muktzah. The barrel of wine is a basis for this money. Because of the fact that the money is on it, this barrel could become muktzah too. Could become. The first thing we said was that if a person forgets, before Shabbos he forgets, accidentally puts this, leaves this wallet of money on the barrel of wine, forgets, means that he had intended to take it off before Shabbos. But he forgot. Barrel of wine not become muktzah, if you cannot touch the money, so you're allowed to bend the barrel of wine over, let the money fall off, and then he can use that at that point. However, the thing now is, what if he placed this wallet on the barrel before Shabbos with knowledge? Put it there because he wanted to leave it there for a while. If he put it there with knowledge ahead of Shabbos, then even if on Shabbos somehow this wallet was taken away, this money was taken away, by a goy or some other reason, some money was blown away by the wind. And now, if the Shabbos began, this money was removed. The barrel of wine with Gossip became a Gossip of Davar HaOsur. When Shabbos began, it made muktzah for the rest of Shabbos. It is so muktzah that it becomes quite the same identity as the muktzah that is on it or was on it. Money is muktzah, even for a skill by Nachman is plainly. You cannot move money away if you need a spot for it. And the barrel of wine too also has the same rule that applies to it. You cannot move that barrel even if you need that spot. So this is the severity of the posek. It's the same as the muktzah that it carries. It's if he placed it before Shabbos, but the intention leaving it for Shabbos. What if he had placed it on the a few days before Shabbos, and then he forgot to remove it? He placed it with the intention of leaving it, putting it there. He had to remove this before Shabbos. It's then permissible on Shabbos. If he didn't move it as though it was forgotten rather than placed deliberately. This is if it was put there a few days before Shabbos. But if it was put there ahead of Shabbos, even with the intention of taking it up before Shabbos, if he forgot to do so, then according to the Beis Yosef and his Matim, according to the Shulchan behind, it is posek. The number of posek that can play, most other players can follow that Halacha. Erev Shabbos cannot be held. Erev Shabbos is a time when a person should be aware of the fact that it's Shabbos is coming. So the person got absent when he places something on a thing, which should not look to. The intention of taking it out before Shabbos, and he doesn't take it out, he forgets. It's the same as having left it deliberately, and it becomes a basis for Davar HaOsur. So in a word, if you write anything which is a basis, becomes a basis, in effect, the item was left there, was placed there with knowledge, then they think it was also for the entire Shabbos, even though they took the books had to remove. Unless the item was placed there by mistake, and the dish already, then it is nothing. Again, we're going to do the thing with the Shemay. We have to do our Shemay, it is later. Hilchos Shabbos Dinei Muktzah in Bosses L'Davar HaAsur. As a Kiddush brought me Adam that in case a person has a drawer, he happens to throw stuff in there haphazardly, it's not considered as though he puts something down on top of something that's not Muktzah. It was not intended to break the other stuff, Bosses L'Davar HaAsur. So if you have in a drawer silverware, what if you have, say, a pin or something that you throw in, doesn't make the silverware possible. You're allowed to shake off the pin and take out the silverware. This just means that he was not neat. He was sloppy in putting the stuff in the drawer. He wasn't intended to put it down. Unless he's very neat, very neat, pays a price, he's very neat to put the stuff in exactly with the Muktzah on top of the non-Muktzah. Once you realize that Shabbos is too late, of course it is possible. But if a person has both Muktzah and non-Muktzah on top of something, it does not make the item buses unless the non-Muktzah is more valuable than the Muktzah. Therefore, it's a very important halacha when lighting candles on Shabbos. This is the reason why or a woman lights candles, she must see to it that the chalas are on the table. Actually, of course, if you have silverware on the table or dishes, it will serve the same purpose. But it's much better and much nicer if you have the chalas on the table because then it serves both purposes. The table looks set up for Shabbos, she lights candles, and also the chalas are non-muktzah. Candles are muktzah. Now, with both on the table, the candles alone would make the table a posek to David also. Which means you cannot move that table 1 inch after that. Whereas if the chalas are there, even though the candles are too, you're allowed to move the table because the table is then a posek with David also and mutter. Once you now have chalas and candles, chalas and muktzah, this rule applies. It means that it must be on exactly as Shabbos begins. Well, it's not good to put the chalas in after Shabbos begins, and it's not good to put the chalas in at the time of candle lighting to remove it before Shabbos begins. The chalas must be on during the time that Shabbos enters. Of course, the question arises, what if the candlesticks are made of pure silver? Gold, iridium, platinum. What about how could chalas, which used to cost 20 cents a piece, then it cost $8. How could they outmatch the price of the silver candlesticks? The answer is that it's not the silver candlesticks that are muktzah, it's the candles, it's the fire, which is not worth as much as the chalas, so that the particular muktzah is worth less than the value of the chalas. This, of course, we said in the Shiloh Lord, but there's no longer a Shiloh because the price of chalas has risen to a point where it needs to rival the candlesticks too. So that if the chalas are there together with the candlesticks, with the candles that they're together, the table may be moved. To add an additional point, it's very controversial. Not very controversial, very simple, but it was controversial at one time for no reason, unjustifiably. The whole story behind this is that if the candles are lit on the table, it is permissible to move the table while the candles are on it with the candlesticks, even while the candles are on it burning. Move the table, when you're moving the candlesticks with it, with the candles burning, moving the fire, which of course you have to, in which case you must be careful that it doesn't go past the place where there's a wind. The moving itself should extinguish the flames, Chas Hashem. But if there's no wind and you're careful not to extinguish the candles, You're allowed to move the table with the candle, burning candles on it. That is definitely permissible from Moshe Shabbos. You should be zeichet to carry the mitzvah Shabbos in Chassidut, Emes, and to see the eating and let us see again. That's Rabbi Shabbos that he looks at Dinei Fosses and David Hassan. Additional din is that a person is said to places something muktzah on David Sheni muktzah before Shabbos begins, and for the rest of the Shabbos the non-muktzah item becomes posek, the rest of it is a posek. Even if the muktzah was removed during Shabbos, it is also for the entire Shabbos. However, it is known that one person cannot be Eiser, so he belongs to a second person. If you're a guest in somebody's house, you do him a favor by putting your wallet on top of his keys. You don't make it also for him to use his keys. You can't make us something if you belong to someone else. So it's only a person who does it to his own things, but not to somebody else's. But of course, a wife could do it to her husband. It's proof echad. So that the family is straightforward to the person, you cannot do it to someone else. Now, we said that in a book, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, because something that's very valuable. The tradesman's item. For example, the oil, precious weapon is his emerald. The knife he uses, a very special kind of knife, very sharp, it's honed to a special sharpness, it's expensive. It's made to cut perfectly. One single cut and the thing is done. That's the way a regular man does it. So it should be not more. More than so. Now, the Taz says this knife looks on Shabbos when it's not in use. So, in the morning, when Mile finishes using that knife, what happens is still in his hand. The second he finishes making a cut, the knife becomes muktzah. When the person is holding a double muktzah in his hand, while he is allowed to place it wherever he wants. As long as it's still in his hand, he can move it to wherever he wants and put it down. So, therefore, the Mile has to be careful to put this knife, as he puts it down, put it into a place that's well guarded for his own sake. He wants that to be safe. Now, of course, he's in a hurry to finish the bris. He comes immediately after the chitah, the cutting. He has to have a special box with a knife handy at the side, put it down in a special place, and then know that there's no more chance for him to correct the movements. If he forgets, he puts it down on the table, and then that knife remains right in the class. The law and the shach and the say that as long as he hasn't put it down yet, and as long as he hasn't put it away yet, he is allowed to put it away. You don't have a posek like the Lord shach and the Yemen. If he has to put it down, not the place where it's guarded, it's not considered as though he really put it down yet, complete action, and he's allowed to move it to a place which is guarded, well guarded, even though it's put down, but that's b'niyah. The Chassidut, of course, all agree the male should put it in a place it's guarded immediately, not after. Even if he did, you still put it somewhere else, so the R Nosson asks like the shach in this case. It is permissible for a person to will to put it away. It should be said, of course, you can learn a lot of halachas with this. It says to guard our precious items, our precious tools, Shema, which is so precious to us, and we should treat it properly, give it to it, care for it properly, like the kiruv. Be a servant for the Shema, not show the opposite. Have a body do actions for the sake of the Shema, for the sake of mitzvahs. Therefore, when we put on to Hashem, to the Shekhinah, Birthday Shabbos, D-Day, Postis Lektover Ha'asr. As we said, an item becomes muktzah itself if it has anything muktzah on it at the time that Shabbos begins. What if it has both muktzah and non-muktzah on it? How is it judged? We said that it depends upon the value. If there is more muktzah on it, it becomes muktzah and davar asur. If less muktzah, if the heter, this permissible, is more than the muktzah, it remains mutter. Therefore, on Friday, like today, we must be careful when it comes to candle lighting. There should be the candles on the table plus the chalas. Chalas, which are worth more than the candle fire, especially in today's inflation. The fire didn't go up. This is the best thing, of course, is the chalas, because of the English of the chalas, the symbol of the chalas. In fact, anything at all would be sufficient if it was worth more than the candles. And it must be there, not at the time of candle lighting, it must be at the time when Shabbos actually begins. Now, the question is, what determines the value? How do we appraise the value? We say that the non-muktzah must be worth more than the muktzah to make it non-muktzah davar asur. What if the value in his eyes is great? He has an old cup. The cup is made of, it's already very thin, worn-out silver cup. It's completely worn out, and in the market he couldn't get 2 cents for it. To him, it's a relic. To him, it's something which is a remembrance, let's say, inherited, something of sentimental value. He wouldn't take $100 for it. It's worth 2 cents, he wouldn't take $100 for it. On the table you have books that are worth $50. Is this considered more than the other? The answer is that we go by his value, not the value of the world. Generally, his data is bundled bigger than the other. In this case, it's what's worth to him. Therefore, at the same time, he can get in trouble, because let's say that he has the candles on the table. He also has on the table a crystal dish, pure imported crystal, that is so expensive it costs hundreds of dollars. His opinion, his wife got this dish, he would pay somebody $20 to get it out of the house. He can sneak it out, drop it out of the top window, off the roof, or anything. It's a monstrosity, and it's not worth anything at all. It's less than zero. He's happy to give it away for nothing, but he couldn't find some thugs to take it. Yet, of course, in the eyes of the world, this is a very precious item. It's rose quartz, or it's crystalware. So in the eyes of the world, it's worth a few $100. In his eyes, the flame of the candle is much more light than that dish. The result is that this dish does not help you at all. It becomes muktzah. It's considered muktzah. Of course, we go by his value, his appraisal, not by the appraisal of the world. Well, too, we said that in moving this item, in the telltale, tilted with that set, which means something which is not movable. For instance, this item has, this non-muktzah item, barrel of wine, has on it the muktzah, which was, I forgot, it was placed there, so I don't make the barrel of wine muktzah, but you have to move it in order to get the muktzah off it. You can move it in that set. It's called tiltul bin hatzat. You're moving the muktzah, but not by touching it. That is permissible. Moving with your foot, so on. It is permissible to move muktzah that way. It's not directly moving. Direct tiltul. Tiltul bin hatzat. Now this, of course, is permissible only if it's for the sake of a non-muktzah item. We need the barrel of wine. But to say that we're not telling muktzah to move the muktzah, so you'd rather have the wallet of money than a drawer. The kids wouldn't get to it. So then you're not allowed to move the muktzah. You got to cover it or else slap the kid's hands or whatever it is, but you cannot move muktzah unless it's for the sake of the non-muktzah item. all, let's say, for the sake of the place that this muktzah is covering, is occupying. You need a spot on the table. You need it for the sake of putting dishes, food. Muktzah's on it. You then move the muktzah min hatzad. Moving the side of your elbow is moving that because, not because of the sake of the muktzah, but the sake of the muktzah, the place of the muktzah. Then it is from this one itself. We should be zechet to the valley, tafkidedu. We move all muktzah from ourselves, muktzah mechasviyas, muktzah mechasisa. We kaddish ourselves, we emes, we zechet to the seating. We should be